Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the HSBG Podcast. I'm your host, HK Collins. I'm here with my constant co-host, Shady Bunny. Shady, how you doing?
Doing great, Collins. Good to be here. How are you today, man?
I'm doing well. I woke up, done some things, lived some lives, that kind of thing. I don't know what that means, but it sounded decent. Anyways,
Very Collins-esque.
it is. We do have
Before,
a
before
pretty
we dive in,
interesting.
sorry, I just wanted to say that we actually never announced our schedule change, I believe.
Right.
Or for the moment, at least, we are recording once every 2 weeks. Reason I'm saying
Yes.
it is that did get quite some questions. You guys quit? What happened? Where's the podcast? So,
I
this is
changed
sort of
if you look at the description of the podcast, if you it used to say weekly, now it says bi-weekly.
that's everything. How could they not get it?
How could they have missed that?
So that's not like a final decision or anything, but it was just a change based on both of our schedules and activity level in the game as well. But yeah, we'll see going forward. But yeah, for now at least, don't be too alarmed. If you only see one every 2 weeks, that's perfectly normal.
Yeah, I would say it's probably mostly my fault, right? Since I've been playing more Snap, but I do think it's a pretty nice cadence, right? Their patches have been in a 2 week cycle, so it's a lot easier to always have something to talk about. Sometimes there will be some weeks where like nothing has happened, especially without the lobby legends every month. Last year it was kind of good because those weeks you could always like say, oh, we had something going on in the lobby legends discussion, but really hasn't been that kind of thing for this year. So we're definitely trying to make sure there's always something to talk about every episode, and it just fits our schedules better, at least for me.
Yep.
Anyways,
All right, let's go.
that's a good point, Shady. Thanks for bringing that up. I was gonna do that, but you decided to take the unenviable task of letting people know. But also do have like YouTube stuff, right? Like I've started a new Hearthstone channel. Definitely check that out if you're interested. Shady has his up and running as well, so that's also something in terms of news you might want to tune in for. But there was a patch this today, so we're going to talk about that. But before we do that, I do want to kind of talk about the general meta that we've had since I think with the patch and the cadence of adding more hero types in the game, the meta is going to shift. But I do want to talk about like our overall thoughts on the game so far, what you've liked, what you've noticed about the games, maybe things we've got right, maybe things we got wrong, even though that never happens, and just an overall view of the meta.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, go ahead.
did you want to like go into like what the meta was like or anything like that, or
Well, I think there's a lot of stuff to cover here, so I think
right,
we
this
just
can
go a
take a
little bit.
while.
Yeah, we go a little bit just by feel. I think talking about the crazy stuff is always good, like stuff we think maybe shouldn't work that way. So the cool thing is that I haven't actually really looked at the balance patch where I was going to, and Collins was like, no, do it fresh on podcast. So you guys are gonna get it completely unprepared, unfiltered, which is fun. So if you hear me talking about cards right now and interactions that have already been changed, especially by the time you guys listen to this, which might be a few days after, patch or whatever you do decide to listen to it, keep that in mind, right? But I think that there's a couple things that stand out. So in cards individually, you have to talk about Duo. Duo is a card that
Upbeat
the battle.
duo, right?
Yeah, upbeat Duo, the card with Battle Cry. Select a card, and 2 turns from now, you get a copy of that card. That interacts with Bran, that interacts with Golden Bran, that interacts with Drakari. So very, very nasty where you can, I've had situations where I was copying 6 of whichever card I wanted. So generally speaking, that will be Caligos, but it can also be Banana Slamma, which are sort of your 2 powerhouses in the meta. When dragons and beasts are in, it's extremely likely that one of those 2 will win. Once again, all about the previous meta, right? We're going to have the balance changes coming in, which will very likely, or at least hopefully, change this. But that has been sort of the strategy, at least at high MMR. where you are either trying to really push into a Caligos build where you try to get as many Callies as possible, which is very possible with the duo.
Mm-hmm.
Even if someone already has all the Callies out of the pool, the duo will still produce more Callies. So this is I talked about this on stream. It's a very fun analogy. There's this amazing scene in The Simpsons where Fat Tony is playing poker with his goons, and one of his goons is about to take the pot where he says 5 queens, and then Tony's like 6 queens. So that's how I feel it when people are playing a game right now, like 5 Callies. Callies and they just like win the game because that's what it feels like. Like there is no limit when you have duo. Like 12 Callies, you can play 12 Callies, no problem. Which that probably shouldn't be a thing, right? Like if somebody's running 12 Callies, I've seen it. I've seen 12 Callies. Right? It's ridiculous. It's like you're just playing like 4 golden Caligos because why would you not play 4 golden Caligos? So yeah, that's just silliness, right? Like when you can access copies of a card that easily, it just creates these very, very silly situations. So yeah, another thing that made dragons really nasty is Rylak. This is the this is the beast that when it dies, it procs the battle cries of the adjacent minions.
Right.
So what an extremely common strategy was, you get Dracasath, which is the 4-drop dragon that creates a token dragon.
Mm-hmm.
You reborn your Rylak. You put hopefully 2 Dracosats, but even 1 Dracasath on either edge is very strong because what are you doing? You're creating triples. What do you get with triples? You get more Caligos. You get free battle cries. You are making money during the combat. So this is something that to me should never be possible. I don't think that you should ever have been able to access so much extra battle cries, so much extra money with like a reborn beast. So especially in beast dragon lobbies, it was completely insane that you I'm saying could because I hope that the patch is going to put a stop to that.
Right.
But that has been my entire meta experience. It's either like Rylak dragon abuse or go for banana slam, which
It's funny to me because I do agree that those are problems, but those aren't the only problems, right? Like in my opinion,
there's definitely stuff, right?
Yes.
But yeah, it's fun. You can tell me what you think is most problematic.
Well, generally, I think the summoning from hand interaction has created some like unintended consequences with like how you can play the game, especially with like the ability to combo it right with the beast stuff, right? Like that maybe that's like too strong with the what's it called, the Blanchy.
So what you're talking about right now is the banana slamma interaction, right? Or
yeah, but and just general case of like you can buff that Murloc guy and give it poison like with some of the other Surges, and then like afterwards have like a 300 that like can't be like easily killed off, right? Like if you have that at the back with, and there's the Murloc that gives things poison. So I've seen boards where it's like selfless well, the selfless doesn't matter, but you have a full board of poison Murlocs, and then once that dies, out comes like 400, and I'm just like, what's the solution here, right? There's been a lot of boards where I can't figure out how to beat it. Like oh, give me like 10 turns, or well, not 10 turns, but like give me like 3 turns, right? How do I beat this? And I'm just like, I don't even know how to approach.
Oh, right.
Dealing
well, that
with
one
this
is
scenario.
You throw like reborn coiler and stuff to tank the venom. And
Yes,
then
but okay, if you don't have beasts in the lobbies, right? Like it's.
Well, you said like, oh, give me 3 turns, right? So you can do whatever undead token, like summoner or something.
Yeah,
so obviously
it's not like the Murlocs are weak, right? They're pretty big
but,
Murlocs, you know.
Well, yeah, but you're tanking their venom charges
Right.
essentially, right? Like you're just getting rid of their venom charges. But the assumption is that you've had a good game yourself, so you can compete.
Let's assume I haven't had a good game yet.
Yeah, I mean, why are you winning? Why should you be winning then? They obviously have an insane board.
I gotta find a way. That's something I used to like. Like even when it was doomed, there was still like stuff you could do, like to have a chance, right? Like, but now it feels like if you're not already doing well, the the Lyra Mantis isn't gonna like do much for you. Like it can maybe kill a card, but like
Well, the reason why I said you need to kind of have a good game is I would say if you're going for that strategy to tank the Venom, you
mhm.
still need like one or
Big
two really
guys.
good
Yeah.
minions, right? They're like, oh, I tanked this Venom, now what? Well, now
Now
you're
my
big guy.
800 can tank his two 400
Well,
perfect.
no. Then it's your Venom in the back that can then kill their big boy,
Yeah.
right? So if you have the taunt tokens yourself, then you have your big minions, then you have one or two Venom minions in the back. Again, right? Is that going to have a high percent? Probably not, but you have a chance, right? Instead of like, oh, I'm always dying to the big boys.
Okay.
But it is true that I have done some very unethical. Well, I mean, you can actually counter scam. Now that I'm talking about it, I'm like, I killed that, right? So I just did it myself, right? So I had was actually such a dirty board call. It's like it's so insane. So what I had was I had the Belcher, which is the Murloc that death rattle poisons.
Mhm.
So I have that golden, and I
Right.
have a Baron. So
Okay.
when it dies, it poisons
Gives
my
it
four
everything.
Murlocs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then my base skill dies, and it summons Leroy and Queen and Poison Murloc from hand. And there's a Baron, so you
Right,
can
because you have
summon
the
like up
Baron.
to
Okay.
4
Okay.
things. So it's like
So
like
you're
some
double
insane.
scam. You're
Yeah,
just
yeah,
double
yeah.
scam. Okay.
Yeah,
Wow.
so when you are thinking like what is the final form of scam? Like it's two Leroys in your hand, two of the 2/7 Venom in your hand, maybe Queen in your hand, and then you have like just base skills on the board with the Venom guy. So the base skills get poisoned, so they kill anything they touch, and then the base skills summon Leroys and you kill everything.
This is what I'm talking about. Like you're not even like giving me the hope. You know, you're like I
Yeah,
just
this
do it better. Like I just have
you
more
go
scam.
full scam now. Like before, now you have like 12 board slots for poison.
Hmm.
You can poison them 12 times.
Yeah, I do also
So
think the Drakari Enchanter is probably something that needs to be addressed. Like it does feel like another angle of the like brand Titus interaction. Like oh, here's the third one, the end of turn
yeah.
scaling. But it does combo with some things really weird, especially with the duo, of course. But duo has its own set of problems. But
Yeah.
the
Right now, I'm not going to look at duo when we're talking about balancing
okay,
things, right? The assumption is that duo will
the
get
elemental that
hopefully.
scales by the highest health, right? Like it can hit itself with the Drakari Enchanter, especially if it's golden, and you can just have it like exponentially increase in HP. Uh, we talked about last podcast, but seeing it in action is like, how do you beat this, right? If everything's taunted and you have like a lot of them, like if the thing
Yeah.
has like thousands and thousands of HP, it's just like not very like how
It
would
is
you
it is a
approach
weird
that?
one. I'd say it's really one of the lesser problems because
It's
it's
not
still
as common.
so
It's because it takes
yeah,
so much setup to really
it's
work. But when it does work, like what do? You just like sit there
well,
and
Leroy Queen, right? It's always taunted. So we're
yeah. But if
talking
you
like
taunt everything, or you have multiple of them, right? Like you just
yeah,
need one to go through and you win.
it still requires
Setup, of course, but like
a lot of setup, right? So, and to be fair, that comp I just described absolutely destroys. Like, okay, if you have poison base skill that pulls
yeah, if you
Leroy,
have
they have 0.
15 poisons, yeah, okay, I
Yeah,
guess
you need
that's
like 5 and you beat that comp, right? If you
that's
have 5 poisons, it's over already. So it has counters, right? But yes, obviously I hear you where we're talking about is this really my battlegrounds when, we just have to kind of accept that there are going to be minions with millions of health running around? Probably shouldn't be, something that self scales in the millions,
I
right? So
I
I hear you. I hear you. It probably shouldn't be a thing that there's minions that routinely minions are running around with millions of health.
I saw Lee get 10,000 worth of stats in a turn, right? Did you see that? Like
Yeah, I
how
mean,
I don't know
I
that kind of
I
stuff
got
is like
I
was
got
that
much
fun?
more, right? I got what
Yeah,
I did
well,
today was I had 4 of those golden upbeat guys, and I had a golden Drakari. So they scale off each other in the
right.
same turn.
I know.
So the first one grows, God knows how many times, right? Like the
Yes,
trip
but
is it just
I
like
that's what I'm saying. Like, that is a problem. And then here's
yeah
another set of problems. Like, it's getting 10,000 worth of stats in a turn. Like, is that balanced? You know, do we
yeah,
like that's
but then
okay.
we're not
Obviously, he
necessarily
had like the
talking.
nuts combo
Yeah,
for
but
Nagas.
are we talking Drakari then, or are we talking the upbeat upstart that is just self scaling?
Oh,
And thank you,
that
by the
was
way.
with crooners. He scaled 10,000 with crooners.
10,000 with crooners. Okay, let's get to that in just 1 second. Soren, thank you so much for welcome everyone.
Oh, we were talking about
So,
something else.
yeah. No. So with crooners and
Yeah,
Zesty, he gained
yeah,
10k.
yeah. He also
So,
had the buddy that procs on itself.
oh wait. Oh, so Ashara's buddy.
Yeah, because he was
Yeah.
playing
I mean,
ETC, I believe.
that's okay. So let's assume that because sometimes you just get like okay, whatever, right?
Right. Yeah.
So without Ajara's buddy, we're talking. It was golden as well, probably. I'm
Yeah, it's
guessing.
probably golden. Yeah, so it
So
was
he
maybe
gained like
like
3,000,
2,000 or
probably.
yeah, 2,000, 3,000 without it. Yeah,
Yeah, between
but
2 and 3,
still,
which is
that's like
still,
not like
still disgusting. Yes.
he only gained like 2,000 stats. Oh, I guess that's fine. Like,
Remember back in the day when we played a lifetime, we got +8/+8, and it felt amazing. Yeah.
it's just like this is the normal now.
Yeah.
It's there's definitely more strength than buddy meta, is my opinion. That's hard. Like there's
Yeah,
more broken stuff.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And that is exactly the thing that, for this kind of discussion, we need to see the round of nerfs and talk about it, because
Right, I
otherwise it
see.
doesn't make that much sense.
Okay.
But yes, it has indeed felt more, and I've said this as well on stream, like an Earth mode type stuff, right? League of Legends Ultra Rapid Fire mode, where you're not really playing League of Legends. It's just a mini game, kind of for fun, where you're kind of playing League of Legends, but everything is on steroids. You have no cooldowns. Your mana cost is 0 and whatever. And that's similar here, where we're kind of playing Battlegrounds, but my minion has a couple million health, and I'm gaining +2,000 with some spellcrafts in one turn, and that's all kind of stuff where you say that in a normal game, like, oh, that doesn't happen, right? If a Battlegrounds is properly balanced, we're not gaining 2,000 worth of stats in one round.
I do wonder if the mode will feel more balanced with more of the types in. Like if there are some of the other types will like make like beasts and demons feel better, or is it just like since we've had like a hyper focused meta where you see the same thing every time, you're a lot quicker to find like how to make it busted, and then it's like, oh, people are really good at beasts and dragons because they've been playing that all day, and then when you add the other types, it doesn't even matter because everyone's just so proficient at the other two that it's like, well, why bother learning what's been missing mechs. I think mechs are going to be stronger. Like, why bother learning mechs when you could just like, oh, I know how to play Cali Dragons or Banana Slammers, that it doesn't even matter and doesn't affect the meta in such a meaningful way. Like I wonder, like I don't know, right? But it is interesting the way they approach adding the new stuff and having people be so proficient in the new stuff, and then slowly like drip feeding the other types in.
I think in terms of high level play, people get proficient at it in a matter of a day or two.
Damn, that's confident. Oh, I hear you.
No, it's just like I was sawing that base skill horse pull bullshit on day 2.
Well, we were doing that in the playtest.
yeah. I mean, again, right? Like,
well, maybe not the horse. Not the banana slammer.
Yeah, we weren't.
Thing. Yeah,
that
didn't
like,
happen.
We weren't abusing banana like that in the playtest. Yeah. Cali for sure, right? Because Cali Brandon was pretty obvious, right? Yeah, be good. All right, so that was essentially the meta before, where we had dragons and beasts being very good,
being
and
the
then
dominant,
yeah, and then we had some lesser strategies that still had ridiculous upper ends of their range.
Anything you want to talk about in the lesser strategies besides just beasts and dragons?
Well, yeah. So we were talking about how you had Crooner, or still have, right? Again, we have to still read the patch after this. So you had Crooner, Zesty, Lurker, which was a very straightforward lineup. The Crooner is the Naga with the spellcraft, get +1/+1, and then it scales. So the next one is +2/+2. Zesty is the Naga that gives you your spellcraft back when you cast on it the first time every time you do that. And then Lurker, you throw the biggest Crooner buff on that, and then the Lurker keeps it permanently. And that is that's just a comp. That scales more than a Tissa. Yeah. So that is a very good indication that something is broken, is that when your 2-drop and your 4-drops are scaling more than your 6-drop engine, you're like, probably wrong, right? So we had this as well for, what was it? Caligos versus Terragosa promo.
Right.
Promo Gosa was better than Cali, so you're like, that's when my 3 and my 4 are better than my 6 drop. So yeah, that's not super healthy. Then Rylak was I don't know how Rylak wasn't in the
Sorry.
patch, because we saw this in the in the graph, right? Like they indicated everything that got nerfed or buffed, and Rylak wasn't in there. I was like, it's impossible to me, like how Rylak didn't get nerfed, because you have a Rylak next to Felemental that creates a big problem. Next to Dracasath creates a big problem. Next to
Well,
Murazond
I mean,
creates a
I do wonder how they track cards being broken, right? Because I'm not sure Relic's a card that like stays at the end of a game, right? I don't know if you keep it forever.
Oh, it gets sold probably 1 or 2 turns before you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, like,
Especially when you play Tally, yeah.
does that mess with their stats and be like, oh, it's never in an endport game state, like.
Yeah.
Like I just
would
wonder, right? Because
I would hope it'd be more, advanced.
I now like see how Marvel Snap does it. I'm just like, I wonder if they're doing stuff similar.
Okay. Well, yeah, well, we know that they listen to the podcast, so or at least sometimes.
Well, so if next patches change, you're like, oh, maybe that's. I see what you're saying.
Yeah. I just feel like the Rylak has, like, of course there are certain fun things, like you have a battle master next to that Rylak and it gets huge in one fight. Fine, cool, memes, right? Like, okay, good tempo, but you should not be able to put a golden Murazond next to a reborn Rylak with a brand on your board and get a bunch of golden cards in your hand during the combat, which obviously then stays, and you can play that and like, oh, there's 4 6-drops. Good, no, that's a pretty good 3-drop, right, chat? We're getting 4 6-drops. Now I get it, golden Murazond, but if you know that the payoff is there, you would be surprised how much easier it is to actually make a golden Murazond before you buy and sell that sucker every time, because you're like, okay, whatever. But now you know, like, oh, if I get it, I kind of just win the game. So especially as someone like Ysera that can force dragons in the shop, like, it happens. I've done it. I've seen it. It happens. People absolutely do it. So I just think it's a very cool idea. I just don't know if we're ready to see battle cries being procced as a death rattle, because it feels like it's so abusable.
It does feel pretty abusable. I hear you.
It's like you gotta, go ahead.
Well, finish your thought, right? Because my thoughts always like will change the conversation, right?
Right. Okay. Yeah. Sure. We gotta get shady from rambling too much. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you making sure we can go home here at some point. Yeah. So the closing thoughts there was that a suggestion that gets thrown out a lot is, oh, let's just remove Bran, and I don't love that. Now, it could be that is indeed something they do, and we play the game and we're like, oh, yeah, I guess this works. But I'm not sure if
Bran is a loved card, like you have to really think about that one.
Yes. And honestly, for this purpose, Baron does the same thing, right? Now, obviously, having a Baron makes it gel a lot nicer, because you'd rather have a Baron on your board than a Baron for this sake. But I'm just not sure if the Rylak is then, if we should change everything around the Rylak, if that makes sense, right?
No,
because
I don't think you should, personally.
Yeah, right. It's like, oh, we're gonna make Murazond not do the thing. We're gonna make Dracasath not do the thing. We're gonna make Felemental not do the thing. Or it's not gonna
the way that Kali was changed was like with Bran in mind, right? So to kind of revert that and be like, oh, you know what, Rylak is the more important interaction. Let's make sure that we keep that and remove the Bran. Like, it's like.
Yeah, so I think it's a tough. That's something I did say on my stream. Like, I wouldn't want to balance this patch. There's a lot there.
When you change so much, obviously, without the like high level playtesting that you're gonna get in live, like you're gonna get things wrong or incorrect or like
for sure. And that is the other side of this conversation, where they got so much right. Right? It's when you change that much, it's a given that things are going to be broken. It's a given, right? It's just always going to happen. And I think that's something people do lose track of, is where they kind of be like, oh my God, did this get tested? It's like, yeah, probably. But in half an hour of live server testing, they've X amount of all their playtesting before that, right? So it's just impossible to
And
catch.
there's just like some ceiling things that you can't do in playtesting. Like you're just gonna not have the people for it. To be like, oh yeah, hey, break this, and they're like, well, we tried. It seems balanced. Like you're not gonna get like Beater on it, right? You let
Yeah.
Beater have a shot, and he's like, no, this is not balanced. So that's kind of the vibe there. It doesn't matter. Like there's going to be people that can break stuff, right? And then like once you have the people break it, then people can copy or like implement and refine that strategy. So it's going to be hard to know like what is truly broken until you have it in a live server like that, Chris.
So without further ado, I guess we'll just hop into the actual patch right now, which is going to be the actual meta. You guys didn't get our I guess semi rant slash talking about, hey, this shit is broken, so we didn't want to deprive that. We didn't want to.
I did want to talk about like any minion types that feel underpowered. Like, is there anything you're like, ooh, this could be buffed?
Sure.
Like, just quick.
So undeads, I think, stand out
That
as
was
being weak
the one I
right
was
now.
also going to mention. Like,
But Rylak with undead is actually really good because you can copy Death Swarmer, and your ceiling is much higher than with an Anubarak. So what you can do with Rylak is you can get Golden Rylak with Reborn on it, and then Golden Death Swarmer next to it with Titus. And
it
then the
feels
amount
like
of
beasts open up everything. I don't know about you,
Rylak opens up a lot, right? Rylak opens up a lot.
but beasts also give you like the reborn as well to make it like even in better. And stuff.
Yeah, but Rylak is a beast.
I
So
know. Okay.
sure, but okay, but I mean, if Rylak isn't in, you don't need the Reborners. That's what
Yes, but I'm saying, but if beasts aren't in, you don't get the Rylak. So, and then beasts also have the
Sure.
slammer interaction and stuff like that.
If,
Like,
yes. So if you want to talk about it like that, whether beasts are in or out is a very big difference if you queue up a game on the previous patch. Correct.
okay.
Because I did make an undead board that had plus 160 damage on the tokens. And I straight up killed banana guys, right? Because I had Golden Titus with hand, and then the hand is 160 damage, and then it spawns what is it? 3 little guys with a Golden Titus, and it might reborn, and it's like, I mean, you got to keep in mind all of them are dealing 160 and then reborning for another 160. It's like I actually run banana boards out of health, so that was pretty fun. But yes, in a normal setting, let's say beasts are out, you can farm with the Rylak. It's not very good. Although that day I did it 3 times. I was like, oh, this is busted. I'm gonna do it more.
You just were feeling it. It's not like
Yeah, I was just abusing the Rylak. I was like, ooh, I just rolled the Death Swarmer and I just like snap picked it, and then I went to 3 for Rylak. I was like, okay, we're good now, chat. I'm gonna make big tokens. But yes, so
good.
Undead felt pretty weak, like the clear weaker type.
Sad. Womp womp womp. But now, yes, we can definitely start talking about the actual patch changes. So there was a patch released very recently, maybe like an hour ago, kind of talking about some of the changes. Hopefully they addressed some of the stuff we talked about. Obviously, I'm not really expecting them to fully hit everything, right? It's a lot, but we'll see. It looks pretty big. We haven't fully looked through it ourselves. But we can get started. So they have some armor changes, so not that many. So obviously they don't think armor is the problem here, which I was a little bit surprised, right? Because a lot of the armor is still based on the buddy meta armor changes. So kind of interesting. Like maybe it just hasn't felt that impactful to change it dramatically. But yeah,
I'm gonna go out here and say that you probably want to see it
the
with
full
next
with all of the minion types in. I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
If I think if I was on that, like you would ideally wait with any nerfs until you've had all your types in. But I think there were just
I don't know if you want.
well, there were such egregious offenders in this
Okay.
patch that you couldn't wait, right? So obviously, I'm not advocating to not touch Banana Slamma, right, or Kali or whatever, but it does feel a bit weird, right? So that's why I'm saying I don't think as a dev I would want to change a bunch of armor values if I haven't seen it with Max and Quilborn yet.
That's fair.
Let that run for a week or so and then be like, okay, these heroes are overperforming. Let's turn them down a bit. But yeah, okay. So some armor changes, but really that's not the
it's not important. Let's go to the actual hero update. So ETC is getting an update where it's going down from 4 gold or going it's getting buffed, right? So it's
Yeah.
now 1 gold cheaper. So instead of 4 gold, it's now 3 gold, which is definitely, I
Oh,
think, a pretty big um,
that's
buff.
monumental.
Yeah,
That's an
yeah.
insane. Like just the fact that you can go 2-on-2 and then click this for 3 and buy for 2, like
It,
that's
it
so much
it
better.
means like if you are ever gonna buy a minion, you can always consider
Well,
pressing the
you're
button.
not buying for 2, but you're just doing the normal curve, right? Like normally you're selling your minion and double buying, and now you can with EDC like sell your minion hero power, right? So
Yeah,
that's what I
but
mean.
like I mean, anytime you buy a minion, it's 3 gold, right? You can always decide.
Yeah.
Sometimes you had to say, "Ooh, do I want to get a minion for 3?"
I just like float a gold here or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. Now you can
And
always do that.
the thing is also 3-on-3 was a curve you wanted to do with ETC, but it was
Hmm.
also so bad
Somewhat
if you didn't have a
awkward, right?
token.
Yeah,
Yeah, because you don't have a token. Like if you have a token, right, it's so kind of okay because you can hero power for 4, then sell your guy, buy a minion.
yeah.
But without a token, it's like you can't really 3-on-3. Now you can just go 3-on-3 without a token and
Every
hero
time,
power
yeah,
buy a minion,
yeah.
which is kind of nice because 3-on-3, you
It
really
gives
need
you
2
the
good minions.
yeah.
Well, you need 2 good minions in the shop normally, right? If you go
Mm.
3-on-3. Whereas now you only need to get 1 really good minion and you can make a buddy. So it puts a lot less pressure on the shop where, it has to be 2 good minions. Because usually when you go 3-on-3 and the shop is bad, you're like, oh, okay, let's go next. The game's over. So now you have that feeling a lot less. But yeah, anyways, seems like a very big buff. Loses 10 armor for it, but that's a very good trade to make.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
And is that the only hero change? Maybe. All right. A
Yeah.
lot of minion changes then. So, upbeat front Drake loses an attack, so it goes from 2-1 to 1-1, which is fair. I think this card is like super popular. Like it's a lot of gold. Well, not a lot, but like it's some gold,
Mhm.
and comparative to some of the other options, it just felt like a no brainer. I was like, cause like, oh, I mean, at least I'm gonna get something with this.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. Like on turn 1, this was a very, very, especially with low flyer being a 2-drop, this was
right,
so good.
yeah. So
Right.
still
Speaking
think it's
of,
gonna be played, and if it's still gonna be played, that means it's probably fine to change it like that. So
yeah,
it's
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
hurt a little bit though. Like you're gonna feel it. Like oh, it's a 1-1, but
It
yeah.
is a 1-1. Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
It's
good. They're changing low flyer. I thought this card was so like busted,
yes.
in my opinion. Yeah.
So this is the card that makes me stay on tier 2,
Mm,
right? I like going 3-on-3 a lot
right.
in the, or at least in the previous meta. I have to still see in this meta, but low flyer is one of the cards that was like, yep, I guess I'm not leveling.
Yeah. 2 attack is like so crazy. So
That was so good. Yeah.
even one
So good.
attack is probably gonna
Yeah,
be good. Yeah. So
probably so good.
yeah.
All right.
Uh,
So Reef,
Reef Rifter. So lost a health. That's
very
fine.
fair.
Yeah.
Card was very good.
Yeah. Don't mind that. Molten Rock getting a buff. I could see that. Yeah. Like you didn't
Three,
really play
four.
this card anymore. Like
I might buy him now, right? Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, Molten Rock with an elemental in the shop now. It's a 3-5. Pretty
Yeah,
good, right?
like that's not bad. Yeah,
I'm down.
the
That's
two
good.
health like hurt a lot. Like it's like hard to really.
2 damage, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's just 2 damage doesn't accomplish much, right? If
yeah.
it's value traded so easily.
Frostling goes up a health, so it still has that base. Like you can have a lot of attack, right? But
Again, right? If that is your third alley you're playing, suddenly it's a 3-5.
it's a 3-5. Yeah, maybe.
Right? You're like, oh, that's pretty good. Whereas a 2-4, again, right? Kind of the
Really
Molten
not.
Rock
Yeah,
problem.
really
Yeah.
not feeling it. Yeah, I agree.
And then you turn it into a 3-4, like, okay, that's fine. But like a 3-5, that trades very nicely.
Okay. Scourfin losing 3 attack. Yeah, I mean, I think this card is another one where I was like pretty busted, in my opinion. Like you get this early, and you're just like chilling. Like you hit a fight, you get a
Yeah.
+5/+5, you're chilling. So
You go 3-on-3 with this thing, it's disgusting.
yeah, it's so disgusting. Yeah, I agree.
Or like one of the best things is like Gale Wing or Cookie pulling this, right? And getting it so
Yeah,
early. It's
yeah.
so strong. So yeah, absolutely agree. Like this card was far too strong.
I'm
I
not
honestly
sure this
thought
does enough. Like I'm not sure. Like
yes. I was gonna yeah, sorry, I'll finish your thought.
yeah, no, go for it.
I was gonna say like I was so sure it was gonna turn it into 4-4.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like it feels weird to hit the stat line instead of I guess
because this isn't doing like it's not changing how you approach this card or anything. It's like plus
Yeah, I mean,
5/5.
you take more damage now for playing
Maybe
it, right? That's
maybe
the
you
thing.
take more damage.
Well, almost guaranteed. A
Yeah.
6/3 is just so much more
I'm
likely to
taking
kill.
the same damage whether it was a 6/3 or a 3/3 shady. I'm still losing the fight.
Okay, you're always
I'm still
okay.
losing the fight. But I see what you're saying.
I mean,
Yeah.
but I mean, the chance to like kill their monkey, for instance, right, with a
Right.
6/3 instead of a 3/3, that was a big deal.
Well, let's see what the monkey is, right?
Let's see if they still buy monkeys. But you know, anything that has 5 health early, you could kill, or 6 health.
Sure.
All right, cool.
Radio Star. This card also, like dude, there's so many cards in the game where I'm just like, doesn't feel right. And this was another one. You get this so early, it gives you 6 drops sometimes, like from like my 6 drops. That's how I feel. Like and it's just a really powerful what's the card like value generation tool, especially if you like get it early. Like I was just like,
I compared this to the coin Naga.
Yeah.
The 3/3 that gives you a coin, and that was a great card to buy early.
Right.
So this is a coin Naga that gives you the coin, but the coin is tempo, because if you don't have a full board yet, you can just put your minion on the board, which you can then sell for.
Looking at the changes so far, it seems their strategy is if you want value, you're gonna die for it. Like I'm going to kill you for it. They're just nerfing the stats. They're not nerfing the card itself, but they're just like nerfing like, oh, this is weaker, this is weaker, this is weaker. That's like seems to be their current strategy for value so far. We'll see if it changes. Next up, Puffer Quill moving to Tavern Tier 3. Sure. I mean, not a lot of people are playing this card. Like Venom really lost a lot of its.
Yeah. So here again, I was so sure that they were going to make this so that it would always have Venomous. Right. With the Murloc being a 2/7 that always has Venomous, I was like, it seems like such an oversight that you have this condition
on this one.
Yeah, now for poison, I don't mind.
It doesn't mind, yeah. But for Venomous, it's like, why is it so much work?
I gotta, yeah, exactly. That's the sentiment. I have to put in this much work to get Venomous
for a turn, like
yeah, for one turn.
I'm not doing that.
So this much work. Let's be honest. If you are playing a Quillbore game, then you'll have a gem, right? You'll have a gem. But especially with what we've seen, with what gems can do, like sometimes your gem is like 10 damage. I don't know, I really want to put, do I really want to waste 10 damage on my guy? Yeah. Right. So no, it is weird.
You'd like it to be permanent, essentially, like have its golden effect on the base effect or something.
Yeah, exactly. I would want it to be. Honestly, I wouldn't even mind if this card was just the Quillbore Venom, where it just would have it regardless of the condition.
No condition. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Just make it a Quillbore Venom guy or Quillbore Naga Venom guy. Because again, right? I understand that you had a condition to make it poisonous, which made a lot of sense for me. But the fact that we are now buying 2/7 Venomous out of the shop and just putting it down.
Also, its stat should be different, shouldn't it? Since its attack matters now. So like making it being a 2/6 kind of weird, because it's like, well, once you lose the Venom, it's a 3/7. It's not that good. Where normally you'd have a little higher attack or something. But since it's a 3-drop now, it maybe it's not as problematic. But when it was a tier 4 minion, it was kind of weird. Like, oh, this thing has no attack after the Venom proc. So definitely, it's in a weird spot with the poison changes, basically, I guess is the takeaway here. And I'm not sure this necessarily fixes it, but we'll see.
All right. Yeah. It's we don't have to go deep dive on this, right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's something that stood out to me because I was like, why does the Murloc get perma Venom and not this poor guy doesn't?
All right, Banana Slammer. This card crazy. We're doing what our big fix, Tavern 3.
Well,
Tavern
after
4.
the nerf, we're not going to be able to see these No, never mind. It does exactly the same thing.
It does the same thing, yeah.
All right.
This one is not.
I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
I mean, are we disappointed? Are we disappointed?
Sorry. We shouldn't chat through.
No. Go for it.
I'm just thinking, how do you watch what's been going on the past 2 weeks? And you're like, let's bump it up a tier, that'll fix it. It's like, no. Like, come on. All right, whatever. We can let's watch all the changes first.
I don't think this does anything. Like,
but okay,
overall.
again, right? You always say this. The percent goes down because the minion gets
Yeah,
more
but
rare.
the people that have the, and we have duo. Like, duo is gonna like not care.
Well,
so-
again, we have to see what duo
Okay,
does.
well,
Right? But the
duo is the next one,
interaction-
but yeah, for
yeah,
now,
we'll
like,
see. We'll see. But the interaction remains exactly the same. Correct. That is what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
The interaction is 100% the same. Correct. There are fewer copies in the pool, so you will see it slightly less, etc. Yada 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 yada. But yes, if somebody does assemble the same Banana Slammer board, then this with the same wording, it should do exactly the same. Okay, so let's continue and see what the duo changes, because that is obviously.
All right, so now it's a 4 attack, 2 health battle cry. It used to be choose a minion. At the end of the turn, this gives you a plain copy. This is now at the end of every 2 turns. Gain a plain copy of the minion to the left of it. So it's not a battle cry anymore.
Yes, that's the big one, right? So it's, and that obviously makes a lot of sense because the issue is that everyone was targeting their brand with this, which meant not insta.
You could also target itself. Like if you had 2 copies, you could target the second copy if you wanted to. That kind of.
Yeah, but the fact that it didn't have battle cry, it doesn't really.
Well, now you can't. That's what I'm saying.
Right. If you were to do that, then wait, why couldn't you? Why can't you do that? You just have the first one copy something else, and the second one, right, just goes next to it. So why wouldn't it be able to copy itself?
No, well, I'm saying like if you had one, you could just target the second one before you played it, or blah blah blah. Now you have to have 2 on the board if you wanted if you want to have a copy.
So you're talking about when you don't have gold left and it's in the shop and you could already target it, or
like
because
if you want to copy it, you have to have 2 on the board. Right.
Okay, help me understand when I didn't need 2 on the board. You mean just play it and then sell the first one, or?
Well, you could target 1 in the shop, or something, or like you didn't have to have 2 on the board or so.
We don't have to go in depth on this, but yes. Okay, the flexibility goes down drastically. Yeah. Correct.
You can also target something in the shop, blah blah blah. Yes, whatever. The battle cry, I think, is another thing. Which Shudderwock is its own problem, right? But you can use this and then just hero power it, and then you'll just get another card with Shudderwock, which I was just like, that seems so wrong to me.
Let's first look at this and say, is it a good change?
It's better.
Yes, I think the baseline is it definitely did not get worse in terms of balance.
Yeah.
So that's good, right? That's the thing. I'm not quite certain that it's going to be
solved.
Acceptable.
Yeah, I agree. I think the card interaction itself is problematic.
The ability to generate extra 5 and 6 stars just opens up so much potential for these outrageous games that we've been.
And it still works with Drakari Enchanter.
Exactly, right? So the whole 6 Kellys, 5 Kellys thing, like that can still happen because the power level is going to just go down slightly because you won't have to go as crazy to keep up. So you might be able to keep the duo for a bit longer and just milk 1 extra turn. But yeah, I think now Drakari is going to be incredibly coveted.
The good thing now is that you can't have this proc 10 cards a turn. Like the way, like with brand and stuff, like let's say even without brand, like you just hit 1 target and then you hit another target and then you hit another target, right? You'd get 4 cards like as a baseline. Now, even if you get a golden version, you're not going to get like, here's 6 cards. Like that's not happening. So that is better.
Yeah, that game I had earlier today, I had the golden brand and golden Drakari. So I was getting 9 copies of whatever I targeted. Right. It was actually so disgusting.
Now you only get 3 or
unbelievable.
Well, 6 actually. You get 6 because this is Jason minion. So
well, the thing is, chat is pointing out a very significant thing, and if you've played a lot in the meta, you understand that feeling. Yes, I got the duo. Shit, nothing to copy. Now you can put it down. It charges up. You roll into the good minion, then you put it next to the duo, and ta-da, right? So in terms of flexibility,
You can just
while
now
it did
buy
go,
it.
yeah, it did go down, right? In terms of I can no longer battle cry my way into like targeting something in the shop, but overall flexibility might have gone up because now you can just buy it, play it next turn, have one extra turn to get a good minion on the board. And that happened a lot. Like if you played a lot in this patch, you know that feeling of like, yes, I hit the duo. I have to copy this random ass card that I
I
probably
did do
still,
that. That was me.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
me a lot. I had to do it. Now I'm copying this random card. I feel you. That is true. So the floor went up, is what you're saying. The ceiling went down, but the floor went up.
The ceiling went down
Yeah,
significantly.
significantly. Yes, I agree with that.
We can't undersell that. Not being able to brand this thing makes the ceiling a lot lower. But yeah, the floor went up. The floor absolutely went up in terms of you are. It's going to happen a lot less that you have to copy a minion you don't really
that
feel
you
like
don't
copying.
like.
Yeah, because you have twice the time to find a good one, right? Otherwise, one turn to immediately get it. Now you have 2 turns. Okay, so I would say let's not spend too much time on this, but the we can
Well,
sort
I
of
mean, Banana Slammer and Duo was the
yeah.
meta, I guess, in Kelly.
Well, I'd
So
say let's wrap it up as a package, right?
okay.
Like now that we've seen Banana and Duo, both of them, I'm not too happy overall with the nerf. I'm gonna play it tomorrow, and I'll feel it. But in terms of Banana Slammer, still doing exactly the same thing it did before, but now it's only going from a 3 to a 4. That to me is very disappointing. In that regard, I think the duo nerf is much better executed. I think that is far more impactful, right? Which is obvious, right? You're not just changing the tavern tier there, you're making it not interact with brand, and you're making it also so that it's limiting your positioning, right? So sometimes that might also
I'm
be
ready for next episode. You're like, Duo needs to go.
yeah, for sure. I
I'm
mean,
ready.
I feel like duo had to go, right? Of course, they probably spent a lot of time making that
the card.
Like,
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, it's hard for them to say let's just
my
kill it all.
baby, my baby. You know,
Yeah, but
cookie
I
chemist. No, my baby.
exactly like no, it's the freaking yeah, it's the other cards that are the problem, not the cookie. Right, so we're gonna get this like no. What if we just remove Kelly? Like, they can't copy their Kelly anymore. Take it out. That way we can keep duoing the game. What do you think? Yeah, so that's the thing. I do think we're going to eventually get to a point where duo won't be in the game anymore.
Right.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how long that takes if that happens.
Yeah, fair enough.
All
All right.
there we go.
Reanimating Rattler. Whoa, this is different. Okay, so it loses its battle cry. It's now at the end of your turn. Give another friendly beast reborn.
Wait,
so
am I reading this correctly?
Yeah,
this is an end of turn effect.
Yes.
So it's reusable. Because it's end of turn.
Oh, it's
right?
not at the start of your battle.
It's end of turn. So that's not combat. That's perma buff, right? Am I reading this correctly?
Whoa, I didn't even catch that.
Can I reborn a beast every turn with only one Rattler? That's like Jandis, right? That's what Jandis would do.
Yeah. Huh.
What?
Well, that's worse.
That makes everything easier.
You called it, huh? I didn't even notice that.
Are we getting a beast buff? What? I understand it, right? Like later in the game, when you're in a pickle, rolling for reborn, right? That's a lot worse because you want to play the sucker and kick it.
So the setup is stronger, but the flexibility is down.
Yes. So if you are in a later game situation, this is horrible because you don't want to keep it on your board,
right.
and you don't know when it's going to hit.
Yeah.
But if you roll this early and you have your bananas on the board, like you are going to very routinely see like 5 reborn boards
on everything.
Yeah, I mean, because why not? You just buy the Rattler and keep it. So it will be the norm almost, where you will see like 5 reborn beasts because everything will get reborn.
I definitely feel like this can cause a whole like set of new problems, right?
Okay, so my first instinct is like I just don't understand why this is a thing. I guess maybe they really, really want to make it difficult later in the game to do targeted reborns, but This
I
this
I
is gonna make the
agree.
mid game
I
much
would
more
definitely
annoying.
love to see a developer notes for this one. This one I
Yeah.
don't even like see where the idea comes from where you make this
And
change.
and the thing is, like, let's say you are playing a Drakari position,
Mhm.
you can easily play Drakari. Like, let's say you have the golden Drakari, you can play this thing end of turn and reborn all three things because
Mhm.
it says another, so it can never hit
It
itself,
can
right? So
never
if
hit
you have,
itself, yeah.
let's say you have three beasts with Drakari, it's like triple reborn.
Well, if you have two of them, you could hit itself, easy cap, right?
Sure, if you play two, but and
Yeah.
like usually you don't want to. And
No,
then
you
obviously
don't.
the golden one now does something extra. It gives two friendly beasts reborn. All
Right.
right, well we can move on, but that is yeah, weird one.
So what if it's
Weird.
like at the start of combat?
Yeah, the problem then is,
Then
are you
it
making it
kills
too
the
weird,
card, right?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I do not want to keep a Rattler on
Yeah, I
my
wouldn't.
board.
I wouldn't play the card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't go for that.
Okay.
So yeah, we'll have to see it
Weird
play
G.
out, I
Yeah,
guess.
weird G. All right, Peggy is getting nerfed, just the way you wanted it, Shady.
He had it coming, but
Yeah.
yeah, it hurts. I mean, I've been saying that for months and months. So this card is broken, right?
It
At
just takes a
65.
whole new patch, months and months of playtesting. We figured it out. Peggy, maybe a little overtuned.
I think honestly, maybe they even saw it with dealer starts as a 2/2, right? And it's
Right, and
good.
it's
So
still
maybe
good.
they're like,
Yeah.
maybe Peggy can lose some stats, you know?
6-5 is
So
crazy. It just
yes.
wins itself. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
and the thing is, like, it's only a 6/5 if you buy it as the last card of your turn,
Mm.
right? If you buy it as the first card of your turn, you're getting 2 or 3 procs.
Yeah, it's already really
Assuming you have a
solid.
pirate on the board, right? So
Yeah.
the stats are crazy. So this is obviously going to change how I buy Peggy, right? It's no longer an always buy, but in a board where Peggy was good, it's still good.
It's still
So
good. Yeah. Okay. Dancing Brainstormer.
Barnstormer.
Brainstormer. Thank you.
Dancing Brainstormer.
uh,
Yeah, we can go for that. Sure.
So it's lost attack, but now elementals have +3/+2. So I guess people weren't playing this card. Basically, is what that
No,
means.
no.
I was, and maybe that's
But that,
my problem.
yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
but yeah,
It's
I can see this for sure. I think it felt slow compared to some of the other things you could do. Even with like the beast battle cry procer, you could just proc that demon elemental and skill that way, and you could argue it was better than this, which is very
no, for
weird.
sure, because you can go crazy with this as well with like the Titus
Titus, yeah,
interaction and just being able to get multiple of these very early, or you are a Lich King and you reborn that thing.
yeah.
There's a
Lich
lot of
King was
angles.
good for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, or the other guy, right? Blanking on his name for a sec. The one that can destroy a minion start of combat and resummon it does the same thing, right? Double proc in it.
it's
So
basically
I
Lich but fancier. Like that's all. It is.
well, Lich King be better for this one, I'd
Yeah.
say, because Lich King actually gets the value out of the first body. But I mean, all that being said, I think that this is a card that's honestly pretty good. It's just suffering from the rest being batshit
Really,
crazy
yeah.
broken, right?
I agree with that.
It's like, are you making, like 400 horses on the regular? No? Okay, get out. I don't want to play you. Like dragons can deal with that. Obviously monkey is the problem. They make that. So you look at elementals like probably not good. So
I still think double Nomi is fine. Like but probably double
copium.
5-drop is fine and everything.
That's some heavy ass copium. No,
Copium.
honestly, double Nomi gets completely destroyed by either beasts or demons that have
I
a good
really
game.
haven't struggled into the beast matchup, but maybe it's because like
Yeah,
I'm
but that's the
cleaving
skill
or
difference,
something. I don't know.
right?
Yeah.
You're coming at it as a much better player on average.
Maybe. Yeah. You know what?
If-
I'll agree with that. That's probably
Yeah, so if we have Collins that is experienced with beasts versus Collins that has double Nomi, Collins experienced with beasts destroys the double Nomi Collins every game, right? Like it's not close.
Hey, maybe.
Because I mean, you're just limited by the amount of elementals you can play, right? You're just like, okay, like let's say you get like 250, 250, 300, 300. Like a good beast game, that's a joke. 300, 300. Like your horse goes in the thousands if you have a good game.
Well,
So it's like,
hear me out. My end game is Dracarian Chancer and the double scaling elemental. So I have 1,000,000
right.
health on my
Okay,
guy.
okay.
So you be quiet.
Yes, if you get the upbeat upstart
Yeah.
and they can't Leroy it, agree. But my counter argument to that is that's not know me, right? You don't do know me for that. You just all you have to do is start with the upbeat and of like, I don't know, a Peggy that makes a pirate big and you're going, right? So that's not know me. That's just upbeat upstart.
It's elementals, baby. Let's go.
It has an elemental tag, baby. It counts. Still
I
counts.
hear what you're saying. Yeah, that's a whole different comp. All right, that's fair.
All right.
But going back to it, like this, it's okay, but it's limited by the meta it's in, essentially.
Yes, this will be good when the rest gets nerfed.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And honestly, maybe with 6-4, you can already notice it, right? But
Yeah.
The main problem this card has is that Kali and Banana Slam are disgustingly good. Okay.
All right, next up, we have Electric Synthesizer. It's going down a tier, so it used to be Tavern Tier 5, now it's Tavern Tier 4. With Battle Cry, give your other dragons +3 attack. Would you call this a buff, or?
I think what I call this is I need space for Dracaset. Where can we put this thing?
You think so? You think that's what's going on?
100%. This is because I was very surprised that I saw this on the list and I was like, okay, I see.
So next one, Dracaset's moving from 4 to 5, huh?
What a coincidence!
What a coincidence!
Right?
Yeah, I hear you.
Makes
exactly sense now.
Yeah. It's just like I need space for a dragon. Which dragon wants to go down a tier? You can't do too much damage if we put you on 4.
Yeah,
do we want to put Mirrors on the 4? Probably not. All right, let's move the other guy down. Yeah. All right.
Makes sense. Yeah. They haven't changed its card at all, so it's just going up a tier.
Yep. And is that good? Yes, of course, because right now something that is insanely common, right, is buy Rylak on 3, roll into Dracaset, play it, win the game. So you can't do that anymore. The end game combo does not change at all, right? Because Dracaset still does exactly what it does, and Rylak still does exactly what it does. We still have to see, right, if Caligos itself gets changed and how. But that part of the comp does not change. But the accessibility goes down by a lot. And, you may have heard us joke about Banana going 3 to 4. 3 to 4 is nowhere near as big as 4 to 5.
4 to 5, yeah. I agree with that.
If you play a lot, you understand that jump from 4 to 5 is gigantic, right? Like almost anyone can get to 4. Going to 5 can kill you very easily. If you go to 5 in the wrong spot, you're dead.
Yeah, let's not tell them that. Go to 5, guys.
Olive is like, go to 5, figure it out, live a little, for Christ's sake,
for sure. Going to 5, that's the normal game style. But yeah, I mean, overall, like those two changes make sense in terms of like you need a nerf Dracaset in some way, and I guess moving it to 5 is impactful enough. Like I've seen enough 4 to 5 and be like, oh, okay, well, my strategy's gone now, basically, from doing that I could definitely see this. In fact, well, I do think the what's it called, the ceiling is still there, right? Like it doesn't change, but
and the game comp isn't well, again, right, we have to see what Kali does, so let's continue.
All right, so Underhand Dealer is going from 4 to 5 as well. Wow, okay,
yeah, that really hurts, again, the accessibility. But what we are going to see then is that there is going to be a giant reward from going to 5 now. So we might see more players doing cooperative level.
There was already a reward for going to 5, but
yes. So Bran was on 5, Mama Bear was on 5. So in Beast Lobbies, absolutely big deal. But sometimes you just look at your tracker and you're like, what can I roll on 4? And it's like, oh,
all of this stuff,
okay, so I was saying
before. But you're saying now, okay.
Yeah. Sometimes you roll on 4 and you're like, what am I actually rolling for? Oh, almost no cards.
Peggy.
Nothing, like Duo, right? Like Duo. Yeah. So, well, I mean, honestly, Peggy in this landscape is also a bit of a joke. Yeah, like it's not Banana, it's not Dracaset. Right?
But I like that you had Peggy and Underhand Dealer in the same like tier, so you could just like get both of them and be like, yeah,
That felt very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe a bit too good.
Hmm.
See that here. All right. Well, I mean, overall, probably a fair change, right? It's like it's
Yeah, I
pretty
felt
nice.
like you could always buy this card on 4, and like it was fine. Like it would scale by itself without doing anything, essentially. But
Exactly.
it feels weird. I'm gonna be honest. I'm like, it's a 5 drop now, but sure. Everything's on
Well,
5 now.
it's like with a lot of things that go from 4 to 5. Now you're just gonna buy it with more setup.
It's basically a Magma Lock esque card.
Yeah, and honestly, Magma Lock on 4 would not be good, right?
Would
So now
not
if
be
you're looking
good.
at it like
No.
put Magma Lock on 5, why is this thing on 4? Yeah, let's put it to 5. That
Then
makes sense.
Peggy's going to 5, guys. Yeah.
Oh god. Then.
Oh, Mama Bear's getting its wow. Okay, so Mama Bear's going down to 4/4 when you summon a beast. Give it +4/+4. So this used to be an old change.
Well, no. Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah.
Like back in your day.
Back in my
you
day, this is
started
what
in
we
beast,
had. You know,
no, you had a 5/5.
it was a
right?
6 drop too. Like,
But it was a 6 drop that did 5/5, right?
yeah, both 5/5. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and then it got turned into 4/4,
Yeah.
and then it was like, why did we nerf Mama Bear? Everything is so strong now. Let's make it
Yeah.
5/5 again.
Yeah.
And now Banana comes along and ruins it for Mama Bear. It's now
Yeah, because no
4/4.
one's playing Mama Bear normally.
No one's playing Mama Bear for the Mama Bear. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, we're just using Mama Bear for its ability. You know, like disgusting. All right, but yeah. So this is probably a Banana Slammer effect.
Almost certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so you might say it's only one stat point, and true, but especially when you are doing exponential scaling, that 1 turns into a 2, turns into a 4.
And you
turns into
usually
a-
have like 2 of them as well, right? So
Yeah. So it does add up, but is that suddenly going to make Mama plus Banana plus Raptor bad? No. That's still very good. But I just want people to understand that due to the nature of how it scales with Banana, that +1/+1 is not just +1/+1. That's a lot more stats you're losing.
Yeah. I feel sad about this one. Like,
Yeah,
like,
Mama taking the hit, right?
Yeah. Why is Banana? Because you can't. How do you nerf double the stats? Like this is now 80% of the stats. Like
Does not interact with itself. Yeah. That's how you nerf. I mean, you need to make that's what I've been saying.
Oh, make Banana Slammer.
Yeah, you cannot make Banana Slammer stack indefinitely, right? That's the big
But that's
part.
what Khadgar did essentially.
Yeah. So I think if you want to keep Banana Slammer around, it needs to be a card that can max go up to ×4, and then max go up to ×3.
So only the highest Banana Slammer affects affects.
Yeah. So it's like Bran. Putting 2 Brans on the board doesn't give you ×4 battle cries. Putting a golden brand on board does give you ×3. So I wanted the same for Banana, where regular Banana is ×2. You play 2 bananas. Okay, that's your backup Banana. If one gets sniped, the other one still does the effect, but it doesn't help the other one. And then if you make it golden, you have ×3. And then you have, sure, you kill the comp, but I don't think we should have a comp that routinely makes 1,000 health Blanchies or more than that. I don't think that should be a thing. I think that Banana Slammer should be a tempo beast element. It should be something that you play alongside Crocodile with Rat Pack and stuff, and you play it with
Crocodile. It doesn't get affected by
Crocodile. You play Crocodile, and then you upgrade into Mama, you upgrade into Stomper, right? So I'm talking more in that region where I guess maybe your backline can be Mama, Banana, Stomper, and then you have Rat Pack dying, and then they spawn as big rats from the Mama. They get extra attack from the Stomper, and it doubles from the Slammer, right? Like that would be a nasty tempo board. Again, you might say that's a joke compared to what we have right now, but I don't think we want to keep dragons where they're at. I don't think you want to, keep Deep Blue scaling where it's at, where you have that kind of ceiling. Unless we are just like, super decided on, let's just introduce a bunch of power creep.
Rattler plus Stomper seems pretty solid as well, where you're going to get the reborns.
Yeah. Again, doesn't really matter too much if people are still forcing big ass beasts through Banana Slam and big ass dragons. But again, like Copium, when the meta gets back to normal, when we don't see these giant numbers, Stomper is going to be very strong with that for sure, because you have a bunch of reborn beasts.
Okay. I'm still sad about it, but I see it. Record Smuggler getting nerfed at the start of, so it's just losing 2 attack and 2 health. Huh.
I'm not sure if this is a high MMR thing because
I don't see
sometimes I
this
had it on my
card.
board and it was nice, but it's not a beast, it's not a dragon, so it wasn't really a big part of the meta. So
But
again,
maybe it was
yeah,
affecting like other archetypes.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and we have talked about that endlessly, where certain things, especially it gives you a static buff, are way better at lower MMR. So if I give you, 5, 6 extra golds, although you could argue that that's extra resources, so there's more chance to mess that up.
Hmm.
But yeah, I think again here, right? This pirates as a whole just suffered from how strong beasts and dragons were or still are. The
I
the
mean,
experience
buffing the
that
cleave pirate was fine. Like I saw some people do well with just having a big cleave pirate, like that
for
couldn't die.
sure,
So
for sure. The problematic pirate, in my opinion, is the battle cry one that gives health.
yeah,
Like
yeah. Big. Well,
with
they
Brand.
would buff it and then give it a ton of health, so it had like 100 something health, and they were just like,
Yeah. You very, very easally make like 200, 300 health
yeah,
cleaves with especially if you make golden brand. It's
yeah,
so easy.
yeah.
So yeah. All right, well, we can move on.
Okay. Trumpeteer. I tried this, guys. I tried this card. I couldn't find a way to make it work. It was so slow. Look, I was like, dude, I have to sell another minion. Maybe 5 is enough where I'm like, oh, this feels good now, but
Yeah, you could play APM elementals with this for sure, but it's kind of like Hogger where you need a golden one and a regular one. When you get to that stage, it's
okay.
pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
I didn't have I
it's
had like two normal
right.
ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's elemental Hogger. Look at it like that, and
Right.
then it kind of but again, a lot of setup, a lot of work. When I could also just buy a Raptor and a Banana guy, right? So
Yeah.
again, I think perfect. It's something that is just so recurring when we look at the patch. Like great card when it pops off doesn't pop off because it's not a beast or a dragon. So that's the because I've peeked ahead a little bit here with the next change coming up.
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
you I guess you want to talk about
I
it.
could just I could just say where you needed my or I
Ew.
said
Ew.
yeah.
That's it?
I said, let's have a look at what they do with the Kali before we talk about, whether dragons are still viable or not. So Caligos loses 2 damage and 2 health. I could not care less.
It's just as problematic as Record Smuggler, basically. It's the same level of problematic. Let's just
Indeed, it's the
nerf
same
2
level of
health to
nerf.
attack. Job's done.
So again, I do want to take the other side of the argument here is what do you do, right? That's why I said I wouldn't want to be the one that balances this patch because you've now made Kali a lot of fun that it works with Bran, but you've just made
You
it
added a
too.
lot of extra synergies too, though.
Well, I think it's Rylak. I think you gotta kill Rylak. You can't let Rylak and Kelly and then and Muro and Drakaseth exist in the same game. It's disgusting. Like just being able to play Muro or Drakaseth next to Rylak with Kelly is because the thing is you are gaining so much tempo during the combat as well because those procs happening in combat affect your Caligos. You're
The
getting like a yeah.
the thing that annoyed me was like when I fought a golden Murazond, and I was just
Yep.
like, he got what 9 golden cards.
I have a game on YouTube today where I made more than 50 discoveries with Golden
like,
Muro.
like
Right? It's like
what is that?
I had 50 extra 6 drops that like just listen to that. Like let's put that in perspective to any other game you've played in your whole career. 50, 55 0 6 drops
even
that I discovered.
even Khadgar wasn't doing that.
Even
The
Khadgar didn't do that. Yeah. And you were working your ass off if you were doing that with Khadgar. With Mirazont, it's just like, I guess I'll open another one, I guess I'll open another one, I guess I'll open another. They literally pop in your hand at the start of turn, right? You do no work whatsoever. Like with Khadgar brand, like somebody worked their ass off. You're like, okay. It's still annoying to lose to that, but you could see it, right? But here it's
I
just
respect it. Here I don't respect it. Yeah.
you literally just start the turn with like 9 well, of course now, it's maybe a bit harder with Duo not making Golden Brand and all that, but yeah, I'm very interested to try this out. So I think one thing you do have to be careful of if you are a player looking at this. Okay, so we still do the same thing, right? Like if I just want to grind MMR, the thing is that you are going to have to be a bit more flexible in your approach of what you are playing in the mid game until you get to this. Because with Banana on 4, with Duo nerfed, with Bran, and with Drakasat going to 5, it is going to take longer for you to move into Cali. So it is a nerf, right? Don't get me wrong. It is absolutely a nerf. It's going to be worse. But again, if you fight someone that has the pieces, the experience is going to be pretty much the same. If they get up to Brand, Caligos, Rylak, it's still going to be disgustingly good. All right.
All right. Well, this is an interesting one. I'm not sure it fixes anything, but it's
going to make it weaker,
yeah.
but not. The experience is still going to be very similar. I'd say.
Nadina does change, and that is impactful, right? You go from giving all your dragons divine shield to giving 3 friendly dragons. Why is it friendly? Why is it adding friendly? Did it not do?
Maybe if there's
it's for clarity issues or something.
Yeah, or there is some interaction maybe in the future that can proc death rattles in the combat for like Rylak sometimes can. So there's this meme build where you have Rylak and the evolve guy, and in combat you evolve your opponent's minions.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so that doesn't specify. So I don't know, whatever. But I guess it always said friendly, right? Because otherwise you would maybe shield you. I don't know, whatever. We don't have to spend.
Yeah, I guess it's just for like clarity's sake.
Yeah, this was actually a change that I was thinking like, yeah, that's probably how you nerf Nadina. You go to 3 because then the upside is you can finally make Golden Nadina do something.
Yeah, because it did nothing.
So Golden Nadina is now worth, which is cool. She goes to 6 friendly, so you're shielding
all again. Of your minions. Yeah.
Great change, I would say. I think Nadina has been way too strong for far too long.
Very fair. All right, and then rock. After you play an elemental, give your other minions +2 attacks. Oh, so it's double the effect. So basically, no one was playing this, is what that means.
No. Again, right? It's not a dragon or a beast, so why would you play it?
Yeah, I guess so.
I think this is another like.
It doesn't hit itself though. Is the maybe downside, but it probably doesn't matter.
Right. Well, I think that's a trade-off you're very happy to make.
Yeah, for double the proc.
Yeah. Also makes it easy to sell in the late game to play a Leroy Queen or whatever. Also, elementals can play selfless, right? So even though Murlocs don't really love it anymore because right now Venom procs when your Divine Shield poison kills something, so then you shield something that's no longer a poison afterwards. Right. It's not very good. But if you have giant ass elementals, of course, selfless is still very good. So making a golden selfless in preparation for the end game and selling the rock seems like a good strategy. I think this is going to be a super fun build to play with, what I said, APM elementals. You treat the trumpet guy as Hogger, you have a golden trumpet plus a regular trumpet, and then you get rock. Yeah. And you're just like cycle. I think it's going to be so much fun. But again, so much work, so much APM required, so much stuff you need to do, where I could just play Cali with a brand and just get like an obnoxious amount of stats per battle cry I play. So this card suffers mainly from the other strategies just being too good to ignore.
Yeah, I hear you. Maybe in another patch but I mean, it is almost double the power, so we'll see if that is actually impactful. So
honestly, I would very happy be wrong here.
Yeah.
Right, these are all just predictions. Yeah. Who knows? I fire up the game and suddenly, like
everyone's playing rock.
Yeah, can't get the dragon build to work anymore. It's just too inconsistent. I don't think that's gonna be the case, but we'll see.
That'd be so funny. All right. Next up, we have Zap. Zap's finally getting a change after 12 years. Zap's finally getting a buff.
Finally,
whoa, 16 health? That's a lot of health, actually. 8 attack is whatever, but 16.
This is no longer really a miss when you triple into it, right? Before, it's like Coiler-esque, where before
16 health? That's so much health. Okay. Wow.
That's the first thing I thought of. Like, tripling into this is actually so toxic now. Because it doesn't die, right? So they take this because it attacks the lowest attack, so it already had a tendency of staying alive. Mm-hmm. But now it's like almost like assuming you win the game, of course. If you win the round.
That's why for Uther. Oh, so it can kill a 15/15 if that's their lowest.
It needs to survive an Uther to Titus.
But like from like a tempo perspective, like this is a lot. It's a lot of health to have. Like if you get this thing early, you're like, damn, man.
I think that's going to be an unintended side effect where people that triple into Zap are going to be smacking the living shit out of people on turn. What is it? Turn 7.
You kill 2 cards and and you
So
stay alive, and then you probably kill another card. Like,
people will take it now, right? Like it's just like, did I get what I wanted? No, I'll
no,
take the
I'll
zap.
take the zap. Yeah.
Yeah, and then on that's a 9 gold turn usually, right? You level to 5, grab it. So then we are talking tier 5 plus the zap surviving. That's 11 damage plus whatever survived. That's usually damage cap.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna get damage cap by zaps.
Finally,
Yeah,
this is what I've been waiting
fi-
for.
finally, I'm getting damage cap by. I never thought I would be able to say that, but I'm getting damage.
Oh,
Yeah.
Makaw's back.
Yep.
Ew.
They oh my god, I'm just thinking of the Rylak synergy.
Yeah.
Because what you are going to do, right, is you're gonna reborn the Rylak.
They were
with the
missing. They were missing Leaper comps. They were like, we were already playing Leaper comps to be fair, but like they're like, you know what, Leapers
Can you
need
just
them.
can you just imagine, Collins, that you hit the reborn snake, and you have it with Macaw and Rylak, and the snake is reborning both your Rylak and your Macaw, and then your Macaw attacks, procs your Rylak dies, procs your battle cries, your Macaw attacks.
What I'm hearing is you want Rylak gone. That's
Yeah, I mean, okay.
I no, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying like this is what I'm hearing. Yeah, I'm just trying.
We've been seeing these screenshots and stuff of people already doing some obnoxious Rylak stuff with, say, Elemental.
Mm-hmm.
Effectively, what you can do with Macaw is first double that with regular Macaw, and then quadruple that with Golden Macaw.
Macaw Scourfin, by the way, just saying.
Yeah, but just 4 times as efficient. That's insane, dude. Yeah. So, yeah, I think Rylak is a huge issue, and it's almost unbelievable to me that it wasn't touched. Again, right? Because it's probably really difficult. I don't want to just be here saying, "Oh, I don't understand why it's so easy. Why don't you just like fix the game?" So I've said it multiple times. I wouldn't want to be the one to balance this patch because I think there's a lot of things that are just genuinely difficult. Like, okay, how are we gonna make this work without like removing all the new minions? So, but yeah, I think Rylak is really a problem card where that's gonna be a very difficult one.
What if Kali didn't buff itself?
That would be
yeah. I agree.
That's good to think. That's good to think, but that's not one where, with Rock I can say like, oh, okay, I can see that working.
Yeah.
But the issue you have as well with Kelly
is the sports, the space.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you need the space for the brand. You need a space for the battle cry. You need a space for the Kelly. So then we're talking, you have up to 4 minions that you can buff, but you kind of want a Nadina, so that's 3 minions you can
and
buff.
there you go, and Nadina hits 3, you're done.
Yeah. And you can't really play more than one Kelly then either, because then you're buffing 2 minions. So.
Well, I mean, if you have 2 Kellys, they'd buff itself.
Buff each other.
Yeah,
that's
I guess that would be fine, right?
So with the double Kelly, you'd be fine.
You'd be fine.
Okay. Food for thought.
Yeah. Because like right now, I feel like, how do you solve this one, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Kelly not buffing itself might be a thing.
It'd be sad though. I'm gonna like, if anytime I play Kelly, I'm like, oh my god, like I'm gonna be sad. So that's the problem, right? You'll have
Kelly has been very sad for a very long time.
Yeah.
I have seen some people advocating like, "Oh, leave Kelly alone. It's the first time it's been viable."
Well, no, I mean it was viable when it came out as well.
Sure, first time viable in a long time.
In a long time, yeah, for sure. I saw, but it's pretty dominating. Like you want it to be playable, but not like, hey, I only play Kelly because there's nothing else to do if beasts are out, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, now with Duo no longer making an insta golden brand, with the Razor Gore on 5, we'll see. But
they didn't touch Dracari Enchanter at all, and they didn't touch the elemental, the doubling elemental at all.
We might see more of that, because that is still exactly the same.
Yeah, still crazy.
Although that still gets indirectly impacted by the duo change.
The duo changes, yeah.
Because you need a lot of those upbeats to make it ridiculous, right? So the easier it is to copy them, the better. But yeah, this is not the patch I was expecting. I'll put it that way. Okay. The fact that banana comp is essentially, I want to say, untouched. which is weird. Well, no, that's not true.
Well,
Because
Mama's nerfed, and then
Llama's nerfed. The Rattler, it's harder to target. So,
Rattler's harder to target. Yeah.
but the Blanchy base skill combo,
It's the same.
that's
Yeah.
still there,
And
man.
you could argue that with Macaw back, it's easier to get bigger stats on the Blanchy.
Scour Fin with that is absolutely, that's a very good. You pointed that out earlier as well, right? Scour Fin Macaw.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, honestly, the Blanchy
might
build
be easier. Might be
probably
better.
Probably better, yeah. Because the thing is, the Blanchy doesn't care that the Reborn isn't targeted, right? Because it has
Reborn. It has Reborn, so you don't care about that too much.
So the ability to have a Reborn Macaw with Scourfin on the board, buffing up Blanchy in the hand, and then being pulled by base.
Yeah.
Now the issue is that you can only do that early because then the Macaw starts whiffing, right? Because you have to put base skill on the board. So, but yeah, for a window in time there, you could do that. Although that's tough. Let's be honest. How often are you going to have the Blanchy in your hand already and Macaw Scour, and you're not going to have the base on the board, right? So,
well, you could just, I mean, you have Reborn, right? So you're just like, all right, I'll test it. I'll try a game, turn.
Sure. That's fair. All right, well, big patch, lots to talk about. It was cool. Excited to play it tomorrow for sure.
Any final thoughts? Undeads are back, baby. Like,
Yeah, Undeads are back.
They touched mostly Elemental, Pirates, Beast, and
I'd say Elemental definitely is the one that got the biggest buff when it comes to them wanting to make them. Yeah, you could really see that they're trying to make Elemental better. Then Dragon got hit with the nerf. Yeah. Beast, I want to say ever so slightly, but maybe more than, maybe the Mama Bear change does even hit harder. Maybe the Rattler change hits harder. Duo getting toned down obviously makes sense for pretty much everything. Yeah. And then the I would say Pirates did not really get hit super hard.
They got hits. Well, I mean, they hit the things that I'm not sure like made the Pirates really good, right? Like, Underhand Dealer's good, but
so the accessibility went down. It's harder to just pick up those gamblers and move into Pirates because you can't really pick them up on tier 4. So yeah, this is it's gonna be interesting, that's for sure.
Yeah,
lots of stuff. I do like the Nadina change. I think that's very elegant.
Yeah, I think the Nadina change is fine. Nagas didn't get touched at all. And the crooner stuff, like, I still think is pretty good if you have the setup. And then
there is one thing I will say about crooner is that every time I found myself saying, "Oh, I need to roll for crooner," I'm dead.
You're dead. So you need to hit it automatically.
Yeah,
because it has to scale at the beginning, right? You can't wait.
It needs to happen extremely organically, I would say, with crooner. I think whenever you are finding yourself rolling for it, pushing for it, you're dead. You've already died. You just don't know it yet.
It's like what's it called? Terragosa and the other demon dragon.
Yeah, so you have a Tarek and you're rolling it out for promo. That is what it feels like. But you're not Ysera.
Yeah, you're dead.
Exactly. Let's say that there was a Naga hero that would spawn a Naga in every shop,
then,
right?
Okay, I could see that. Yeah.
Okay, right, but yeah, it's a very good comparison, Colin. So you are playing promo Gosa, but you are not.
You're not Ysera, yeah.
So you're just like, well, I hope this is this very particular 4-drop, otherwise I'm gonna die. Yeah. So I've been in that spot many times, and I've died many times. So I've stopped doing it. Like it's just like the comp needs to come to me. I can't go to the comp. It really needs.
And no demon changes as well, which I think is pretty interesting because you could argue that's like the third best comp or something like that, like or at least easy to execute. Compared to like Kelly.
Yeah, I would say that demons don't feel like
they don't compare to
Yes, I don't look at demon boards later in the game and go like, what the fuck, man?
No, I agree with that.
I've not done that yet. I've not been like, oh my god, that's so reasonable. You know, like I can beat them if I have the right tech and stuff.
But the fact that you can get the start at 1 and then you can get the combo at 2 and then you can get the next combo at 3, it's like very clear cut and you're strong the whole way
Yeah.
through since the Wrath Reaver start. Like it's like the
Well,
safest like
the
power.
issue with demons
Mm-hmm.
is great start, come out of the gate swinging,
Yeah,
and then
it
it's
falls off.
do
The
you hit
5
the
buff.
counter? You need the 5. If you
Yeah.
don't have the 5, you have no plan.
Mm-hmm.
That's I think that is fine for demons where um if you get the 5, you can continue and you can push into demons. And that's probably why honestly Battlegrounds is such a difficult game to really explain to people, because how someone might have that demon start and then be like, oh, I was playing demons, and it's like, no, you're not demons until you have the Tichondrias. Like, you might have some demons on your board, but it's not a game plan. It's not going to get you maybe even in the top 4. It might not even get you top 4, at least at high level, right? If you were to play demons without Tichondrias, because yeah, you get some free rerolls with the Malkazar. Yeah, your Wrath Reaver scales a bit and your Soul Rider scales a bit, but you're not keeping up with anything anyone else is doing. So you do need that. So I think that especially in the current environment where everything else, well, not everything else, but there are still these big offenders, it's perfectly fine the way demons are.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like they don't feel oppressive essentially compared to some of the other stuff where you're like, there's no way to deal with this. Like here you can see what the opponent did and how it scaled. Like, yeah, this is probably fine. So I'm with you.
You'll usually run into like maybe some 200 maybe 300
yeah.
soul rewinders, and you're just like, okay, that's like 2 giant minions on the board that I can maybe try to Leroy. So
sounds good. All right. Well, I'm not gonna say like they got everything or the things we were thinking about, but hopefully with more testing and maybe this nudge. Usually last week we'd have told them what to change. Now
well, you gotta be careful of the PR, right? Yes, I understand it's a joke for sure. That's
kicked of you.
but
Yeah.
I think it's genuinely fun, right, to just hear people like kind of deep diving your work. If even if you disagree, right, it's still It's interesting to see. So.
All right. Well, that's what we got for this particular episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys have fun in Battlegrounds. There's a new patch that came out today, so if you want to test it, let us know. And definitely, any final thoughts? Any last words for the people?
Enjoy it, really. I'm assuming the power level will come down gradually. We still need to see Quilboar and Mech be released. So again, right, like, don't take this as like, oh, Banana did not get absolutely destroyed. What are they doing, right? This is an initial nerf, I'm hoping, and then very likely we're still going to see a lot of the same abuse with this card. And I still have some pretty high hopes that 2 months from now we're not going to be forcing Banana Bills. I don't think that's strong copium.
Yeah, that's 2 months from now, dude. If they haven't changed anything, you'd be surprised. That's pretty guaranteed. I hope.
I think we just need to see Banana go to 4 and then be like, they're still forcing Banana Bills. Okay, maybe we need to do something else.
Yeah.
So yeah, just enjoy it. Go with it. Lean into the craziness here. Don't fight it too much. Just play some overpowered builds.
Sounds good. Well, take care, everyone. Hope you guys have a nice, fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next one.
Have a good one, everyone.